I'm a customer success specialist supporting NX solutions like Catalyst Center, Meraki, Cisco Spaces, Thousand Eyes in the EMEA team. And today we'll be discussing telemetry for these NX products. As this webinar, I wanted it to be a little bit more interactive. Keep in mind, you have a chance to ask questions about the things that we'll discuss. So feel free to do so. I'll cover more later on throughout the slides. Before we start, and also to give all a chance to join, we'll conduct a short Slido survey to have a little bit icebreaker for this session. I'll be starting the Slido in the WebEx. You can also ask questions in the Slido. You can log in either in WebEx or using your mobile phone, scanning the QR code. Okay, I see we already have one question. So the site where the presentation recording will be available will be posted when it's posted. So we'll be sharing it later with you guys. So just please brace, and this information will be shared with you after this webinar once we have it on the community page. Okay, so I started the Slido. Okay, I see we already have some input there. Okay, nice. So I see we have people throughout the Europe, which is nice to see. I'll give a little bit more time for you to add your responses. Okay, that's nice. We already have a couple of responses there. That's nice to see. Nice. So I see most of us today are joining from Germany, Poland, but we also got other European countries. So welcome everyone again. Now we have the second question for today. Just to understand where you are with your NX products telemetry knowledge. So, you know, from no knowledge to an expert. So please add your responses to understand where you are on your telemetry journey now. Okay, I see we already have some responses there. So most of us either have no idea what it is or heard something but are not comfortable with these topics. So it's good that you joined this webinar. Hopefully after today you will know more about the telemetry and what it is, how it works, and what are the benefits. So it's nice that you're joining. So yeah, we have one more question. What would you like to learn today? So to understand what are your expectations for today's session? Okay, so we have some voices. So yeah, I see that from the answers that you want to understand what telemetry is, the overview, some examples, and how to turn on telemetry for NX product. So I hope we will cover it today, and you will leave this session with some good portion of knowledge. Okay, so without further ado, let me move to our content. So this webinar is again for you. So today you will have a chance to ask questions regarding the NX telemetry. So feel free to put them into the Q&A panel in the WebEx. You will find it at the bottom right part of your screen. Don't worry if we won't answer all your questions during this session. At the end, we'll have a time for a Q&A panel when we'll address all unanswered questions and hopefully provide some nice insights for them. Okay, so let's start. So what agenda we have for today? First, we'll start with looking at the NX portfolio and discuss how the telemetry works for different products we have there. Then we'll move to Catalyst Center and focus more on this solution through the session as the biggest product in the NX portfolio, and it's the one deployed on-prem. So usually this one is the biggest question when we're discussing the NX telemetry. Next point will be the benefits for Catalyst Center. So what we get from the telemetry. And we moved to Pando.io telemetry insights as it's also quite a neat feature and it's quite good to leverage it with our day-to-day work. And at the end, again, we have some call to action and Q&A with all the questions that were left in the panel. Okay, so let's start with the cloud-based platform telemetries for our products. So we have a couple of products there. So we have Cisco Spaces, Thousand Eyes, and Meraki. So all of them are deployed in the cloud, and the telemetry collection for cloud products as industry standard is a native feature for SaaS platforms. So for these, you don't need to take any actions to enable it. All the management plane is deployed on the Cisco cloud, and this telemetry is collected natively. And I'm sharing with you the links to the trust portals for each of these products. I'll put them in the chat so you can take a little bit more insights into it after the session. Here I highlighted a couple of important points from this privacy data sheets, which are common for this platform. So first of all deployments that are managed in Europe. So if you recall when you maybe use these products before, you select the region when you want to use them for Cisco Spaces, Meraki, Thousand Eyes. So if you're using the European region for these products, the telemetry is stored in European servers. It has to be regarding with the regulations we have in European Union. And the main servers we have are located in Germany and Ireland. So we have Frankfurt and Dublin as our data centers. And the telemetry overall, the first important point is to understand the user experience, the productivity, and we want to increase it. So based on the features that are being used, based on the problems usually customers have, we prioritize the development of specific features, specific improvements to make these products as relevant as they can be for your deployments. Also, we use this telemetry for Cisco business units and technical support for communication and issue resolution. So if there is any security vulnerabilities, any actions that needs to be taken by customers, based on the telemetry data, we can target the customers that are impacted or maybe vulnerable to some security issues and target them with specific campaigns to omit and resolve these issues. And the technical support, again, is using it for issue resolution. So when you open the case with Cisco, TAC will have insights into this telemetry to understand where you are, what might be causing the issue. So besides the data that they collect from you during the engagement, they will also leverage this data to provide a better support. And again, to highlight quite important point, data is encrypted during all steps of processing. Usually, this is one of the concerns, whether this data is safe when it's collected from the customer side, when it's processed by Cisco. So during all steps of this processing, data is always encrypted to make it secure. Okay, so this is a short intro to the cloud-based platforms. And now let's take a look at the Catalyst Center. With Catalyst Center, it's a little bit different, as for most of the deployments, we have it on-prem on the customer premises. So this is more, it requires a little bit more work on the customer or someone who is managing deployment for the customer. So a little bit on how Catalyst Center works. So first of all, we have our network devices. Catalyst Center is a tool solution that is used for the management and monitoring of the network devices. So we have a lot of switches, access points, WLCs that we manage with the Catalyst Center. And Catalyst Center will be our single point of management and monitoring. So we have all the data there. Looking at the telemetry, we have two aspects here. First of all, we have the Catalyst Center solution appliance, which is sending the telemetry data to Cisco Data Lake using the Cisco Connect DNA URL. So this is the appliance information, inventory information to understand where you are with your network deployment, to have more understanding how Cisco can support you. So in case there are some issues with onboarding devices, Cisco will know that, okay, we have this customer who didn't onboard the devices they have, so they might need assist with some adoption or overcoming some technical issues. And also based on the features that are being used by customers, we also take it under consideration when we are planning additional features, deployment or improvement of the existing ones. And the second part, let's say, of the work with Catalyst Center is what the network engineers do. So usually they go with the web browser to Catalyst Center graphic interface. And for that case, as usually it's an industry standard for all other products, we also collect the browser information when you're using your Catalyst Center. So here we want to understand which features are being most utilized, so which dashboards in Catalyst Center. So for example, we have this monitoring dashboards, which is called assurance. There are the specific tabs providing you specific information. So we understand, okay, customer is using the feature A, but they're not leveraging feature B. So again, it's telling us something that maybe there needs to be some actions done to provide support to adopt customer with knowledge to leverage these tools, but also to understand which tools are actually with which tools customers are comfortable. So this is more like a usage telemetry. But the Pendo telemetry is working two ways. So you can see here we have one flow that is going into the data lake, but also we have in-product messaging. So this is also leveraged to share some information regarding different features, recommended releases, etc. So it gives us this in-browser experience with additional messaging that is quite helpful throughout the journey with Catalyst Center. I will explain it a little bit more later on throughout the session, so don't worry, we'll come back to this Pendo telemetry insights. And yeah, telemetry again. Here, just to summarize shortly, why we use it, again, to enhance the user experience, to help with the troubleshooting. Compared to the cloud products, the biggest difference here is that the Catalyst Center is deployed on customer premises, and you need to enable some specific traffic from the Catalyst Center, so the URLs of QDNs that needs to be allowed to be able to transport the traffic to the Cisco servers and a specific additional services that you might be leveraging. I'll be covering also that a little bit deeper later on. So when we have some issues, how we can spot that we are not getting some information. So explain it later in this session, so you can also more or less understand when you're in a good position. And again, the privacy data sheet, it's quite important document. Here I have a couple of screenshots for Catalyst Center to explain how this document works, because usually this is where we get some issues on what we actually have in this document. If you will open it, I will also share a link for, okay, I already showed the link for Catalyst Center, so that's good. So when you open this document, you will see quite a long document describing how Catalyst Center is processing the data. So first important paragraph in this document is the second one, is the personal data processing. And it describes which personal data is processed by Cisco Catalyst Center. So again, as I described before, Catalyst Center is managing your network. It contains your network devices. So as you might expect, it will have some data about your network, about the different configuration. So this needs to be included in this document. So what we are processing exactly, and what is the purpose. And again, this is the data that is processed by Catalyst Center itself. So it doesn't mean that all of this information is being sent to Cisco. And usually this is the biggest question, because you look at the document and this is the first thought. Okay, so this is what Cisco gets from Catalyst Center. Not exactly true. We'll have in the next slide what is shared with Cisco, and this is described in this document. So here we have number 6. So this is data retention. And here we have a list of personal data sent to Cisco by the components of Cisco Catalyst Center. And here is just a glimpse of this paragraph. As with the previous one, it's not the whole description, so just to let you know. And here we have exactly what information is shared with Cisco. So not everything from Catalyst Center is sent to Cisco. What is the usage? What is the retention period for this data? And this gives you the whole overview of the specific specific features that you're using and how they are, and if you use them, which data is being collected and which data is shared with Cisco. So this will give you a better understanding of what's sent from Catalyst Center to Cisco servers and what is the purpose of this data processing for us. Okay, so I mentioned a little bit how telemetry works. Overall, keep in mind that you can ask questions in the Q&A, so feel free to put them if you have any, and we'll answer them either throughout the session or at the end with the Q&A panel. Okay, so the telemetry, what it gives us. So there's a couple of aspects where we leverage as a customer, as the user of DNA Center, how we leverage from the telemetry and the Cisco insights. I mentioned in product notifications before. So in product notification, we'll give you some proactive notification regarding different alerts that are appearing from Cisco. So for example, one of the biggest notifications I believe we had in the last couple of years, I believe, it was Log4j vulnerability. So all customers that were affected with Log4j vulnerability had the telemetry enabled, and in product notification received the banner when they were logging into Catalyst Center on what this vulnerability is and what are the steps to mitigate this for their deployment. So this is quite important with some critical, because we want to know them right away when they're announced from Cisco side, and we want to understand how we can, what we can do to disperse this vulnerability so we are not exposed in any way. We also have, for example, field notices for some releases. So anything that is shared by Cisco and is affecting or might be affecting your deployment. So you receive this notification tailored to what you actually have. So you want to receive the relevant data for your deployment, and this is what you will receive from Cisco. Another aspect for some, let's say, more traditional telemetry are the proactive one-on-one customer engagement. So based on the telemetry data, we can see, okay, we have a customer who has WLC, they have access points, but maybe not utilizing assurance feature. And we run this campaign with customers who had issue with enabling telemetry data from WLCs to Catalyst Center, so the monitoring data. Because with some cases we're not receiving this information because of some technical issues, some configuration issue, but sometimes customers are not utilizing the assurance because they're not comfortable with it. So we want to provide customers with proactive support when we spot that, okay, there is an issue based on the telemetry data, and not when they come to realization, okay, we see no value in the solution, we deployed it for a couple of years, and we are not using it at all. So this is why it's important to have this relevant proactive engagement so we can resolve the issues, some barriers when they are appearing in the deployment and not at the end of the journey when we are not satisfied with the product. So overall, to sum up why it's important just to get the 100 value of the solution you already have. So you paid the money, you want to use it, so Cisco will would help with the adoption of the specific features, and based on the telemetry, we can actually engage with the right customers that have the specific issues on board. Another aspect that was conducted was the targeted adoption campaigns at scale. So usually these big campaigns were run when there was a huge, maybe not huge, but change of the Cisco Catalyst Center software. So for example, some older releases were going end of life, so customers might be affected by some bugs, security vulnerabilities, and we want for the customer to have this comfortable journey for the upgrade. So we run the targeted adoptions for upgrade of Catalyst Center, best practices, and helping with the upgrade process itself. So in the end, we had customers who upgraded without issues because usually if you're not fully aware how the process looks like or what are the best practices in case you run into some issues, you might end with some more severe situation and requesting tech support to resolve it. Another aspect we have for the telemetry is the renewal risk assessment. And so again, based on the information we get from the Catalyst Center deployment, we can assess, okay, which features you're using, how many devices you onboarded. So in the end, this renewal risk can be calculated with some additional machine learning models to pinpoint specific barriers that the customer has to engage and mitigate them so the customer can realize value of the solution they have deployed in their network. Okay, now let's move on to the Pando telemetry. So the Pando, as I mentioned, is a tool service that is helping us understand the web browser statistics, the usage, and also to leverage the messaging towards the customer. So here we have examples of a couple of campaigns that were run. So I mentioned some proactive critical alerts. So we have field notices, cert messaging, and we send them to the customers that are affected or might be affected because they're running specific releases of software in their network. And when you log into Catalyst Center, we get the banner, okay, this is a fit notice that may be affecting your network operations. So you can check the details, check the best practices to overcome this issue in your network, and in the end, maintain the network on the proper level of security and sorry, my voice is breaking. Sorry. So to maintain this network on the proper level of security and accessibility for the users, which is quite important nowadays. Another thing, so the analytics and UX research. So based on the usage of specific features we have in the Catalyst Center, we can pinpoint, okay, so this page is utilized a lot, this feature is utilized a lot, so customers like it, customers use it, so we can understand, okay, so it works for them, but other might not, so we can make some improvements to other features to make it more easier to navigate for them, more relevant data being presented on these pages. So we want this to improve the whole solution, the whole, let's say, feature set that the Catalyst Center brings to you. Another thing, we have the adoption campaigns. So as I mentioned, we're targeting customers with a specific features that they might be not using or underutilizing them in their network. So we'll target or send the messaging with webinars, with events, or a chance, to have some support from the customer success team with adoption. So for example, here we have application experience enablement webinar that was targeted to the customers that were not using it. Overall, it gives you quite proper insights into the applications that are running into your network that are relevant to your business, and it gives, again, this additional level of visibility in Catalyst Center. So it's nice to have it. If you don't have it because you don't know how to enable, or maybe you even don't know that it's there, you can use it. So it's nice, when you get this messaging, you can just enable it and use it and leverage for the day-to-day monitoring tasks. And one more thing that we have, this leveraging Pando, is the in-product user feedback, so the CSAT service. So, when you're using the product, you are the most relevant person to ask whether this product is, the experience you have it is satisfying. And, if you're happy, that's great. But if you're not satisfied, it's quite important to understand why. And based, again, on the usage, we can pinpoint some and correlate some information about your deployment to make improvements to the future releases of Catalyst Center, and also to help you if you're not satisfied with the adoption or overcoming some technical issues. So in the end, you are satisfied user of this product. How to enable telemetry. As I mentioned before, Catalyst Center, usually, I would say 90%, 95% of cases is run on-prem, on customer premises in the data centers. So the important thing is to check the guide and follow the best practices on enabling the URLs, FQDNs to specific services that you're using. In some cases, and in all the releases, there was an option to disable the telemetry in the maglev CLI of Catalyst Center. Sometimes the services might be broken. So for example, I don't want to go very deep with the Catalyst Center, but underneath Catalyst Center, there's hundreds of microservices that are running. So some of them might be not working properly. So TAC would support you with resolving this issue if you're still facing them after enabling required traffic. And again, telemetry on Catalyst Center comes enabled by default. So if you want to use it, you don't need to do anything on the solution itself. You just need to allow the traffic from the Catalyst Center and the browser for the Pando.io. So here, to describe a little bit more about the specific troubleshooting for telemetry. Quite common cases that are easy spotted by customers. So if you're working with some network administrators who are using into the issue resolution, the troubleshooting. So, for example, one of the features that is using the telemetry is something called advanced features. So it's a collection of tools. So we have security advisories, bug identifier, and end of life, end of X features. So these are not enabled by default. If you go to tools, so to the menu tools, security advisories, you will see whether you have some insights or not. And for example, if you run it and you will see that you get nothing, it might mean that the connection from Catalyst Center to the requested URL, which in this case is API CX Cisco.com, is not going through. And this will give you overall the advisories to the specific software that you're running on devices, some bugs that you might be facing. End of X features is quite nice if you're running some older devices in your network and you want to know, okay, when this software is going end of life, or maybe some modules on these switches, for example. So this gives you quite good insights into your network and network operations. To mitigate any vulnerabilities. And if you're running the features, just double check whether the traffic is allowed to the specific requested URLs. Now, another thing that I mentioned was the web GUI messaging. So in case you don't see anything, you don't have any notifications about field notices, about webinars, some security advice or urgent security advisories for deployment, there are two options. So either you are running perfect deployment, which I believe would be a very rare situation, as usually you have hundreds of devices, so somewhere there's some old switch that is not being updated because somebody forgot about it, for example. But in most of the cases, when we see issues with this in product messaging is when the traffic from Catalyst Center on the browser to data.pend.io is blocked, and from the browser to CDN pend.io. So keep in mind, there are two aspects here. So we have the telemetry from the device, we have the telemetry from the browser, and also the messaging is going from the pend.io. So if it's blocked, if there's no access to the pend.io, you will also not receive a specific messaging. One of them, which I forgot to mention, is the early first tries signups. So, for example, some features in Catalyst Center are not present in the current release that you're running, but maybe you want to test some features that are coming in new releases. Maybe you're running some, demo lab in your environment when you're testing specific features. So you also will receive these EFT notifications to test some features that are coming in the future releases, which is quite neat. Specifically, I believe with nowadays we have a lot of them. For example, with the wireless configuration, wireless automation. So it's a nice way to do it. Another way would be to go with your account team and request or check whether some feature that you're looking for is available for sign up. But if you're getting it in Catalyst Center, it speeds up the process of getting this done. Okay, so I see we are almost at the end of the session. We didn't have any questions so far, if I'm not mistaken. Just let me double check the Q&A. Just to let you know, after this webinar, you will receive a short survey about your satisfaction. So please share your feedback. Please share what insights you're looking for, and also you will have a chance to ask for some additional support from the customer success team, which we are very happy to provide. And couple of additional resources I will share with you a link to the community page. Okay, I'm putting it in the chat. We will be running in October a couple of webinars. This time it will be some foundation series for enablement with specific features. So if you have some time, please register, attend this session. We'll cover some basic features and also some more complex prime to Catalyst Center migration. So I believe it's almost, if you still didn't migrate from Prime to Catalyst Center, it's a good time to do it because, as you might know, Prime is going end of life. So it would be good to check what are your options and how you can follow this process. Later on in November, we'll be running some more advanced sessions for Catalyst Center, some automation features, configuration automation. So once they will be announced, we'll be also sharing it on the community page so you can check it. And now, yeah, we have some time left for the Q&A. So if you have any questions now, please put them into the Q&A panel and I'll be taking them now. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to share your questions, so feel free to do so. Also, if you need some one-on-one support from the Cisco customer success team, feel free to reach out to your account team or your customer success representative that you're working with, or you can also send an email to the Catalyst Center Expert Insights EMEA mail to receive some one-on-one guidance on the specific features that you're interested in. So feel free to leverage this because we are here to help customers with any adoption that you might need in the future. Okay, I see one question in the Q&A panel. Okay, so basically the question is whether the telemetry is a paid service with Catalyst Center. So I didn't mention it before, so it's a good question. So basically, telemetry is not something that you're paying extra for. So this is something that comes by default with the solutions that you have from Cisco, so you don't need to pay additional fee from the services. So anything that I mentioned is completely free of charge for the telemetry itself. Okay. Another question we have there. Okay. Okay, so this is okay. So this question is about the private information. So the concern is whether this data is stored in the EMEA region or it goes outside the European Union. Okay, so if you will check the privacy data sheet, you will see that all PII information that is being collected from Catalyst Center is being stored on the EMEA servers located in European Union. So all the privacy related information is stored within the European Union. So if there's anything that goes outside European Union, it's not related to the personal information. It's related only to some usage and some, let's say, generalized data that is not pinpointing to any particular person, company, user. Okay, I don't see any more questions appearing in the Q&A and the chat. So I believe that's all we had for today. Again, thank you all for attending today's webinar. Hopefully you got some more insights into how telemetry works with the NX products, what are the benefits, and how it actually works with Catalyst Center. Again, if you need any more support, one-on-one engagement, feel free to reach out to the customer success team. We'll be happy to provide you with some support. And please, if you have some time, register to any other webinars that we are delivering from the customer success team. They're quite beneficial, more technical for the specific features that we have there, with a proper portion of demo, so you can really take some knowledge about using these features with Catalyst Center. So thank you all for the attendance today, and hope you will have a great rest of the day and rest of the week. So take care, everyone.